It's not wrong to do that. That's what I'm doing with Dolphin. I'm sticking to an older version, waiting for them to patch the bug. But yeah, I stick to X11 because I like to turn on my computer in the morning, open the apps that I'm used to opening, and they open in the exact location that they were open in last.
Yeah.
So on Wayland, not a thing. It's just they open in the center of the monitor. That's it. So and it's
Yeah.
only for that reason that I don't use Wayland. There's no other thing. I'm not saying Wayland is bad or anything. It's just this protocol needs to be merged. I need it. It's like spending 5 minutes to reposition all my 20 or 30 windows is kind of annoying. So stick to what works, except that X11 doesn't really work like I mentioned earlier. You open a movie, you want to watch a movie, sit back in bed. No.
I wouldn't
No,
be
not full
surprised if that
screen, you
is
aren't.
some new regression. I've been speaking to some X11 KDE users, and they've been just seeing weird new bugs appearing. So it's possible changes are being made on the Wayland side, which are introducing minor regressions on the X11 side, and there's less support happening there, so things being patched are less likely. I don't know how long KDE is going to keep the X11 side around for. I would I would be surprised if when KD7 rolls around, if they aren't talking about just removing it entirely.
Which brings me to the subject of the status of Zero Linux. The status of Zero Linux is I need to start getting away from X11 because shipping X11 right now, keeping X11 around right now, and it being the default, if you select auto login in Calamares, it's going to automatically log you in into X11, and that's going to give a bad impression of Zero Linux because of X11's issues. So I might switch it to Wayland by default and keep X11 around for a little bit longer for compatibility. It's just for compatibility because there's a lot of users, as I have noticed, that are trying to install Zero Linux on Potato laptops and Potato desktops. So yeah, Wayland is not so great, especially with NVIDIA. On those things, like I received when churches start getting rid of old stock, old computers and stuff. I received two desktops yesterday. One from the 1990s, yeah, IDE drives and everything.
Right.
I'm gonna throw this in the bin, but there's one that I'm keeping. It's a Lenovo Olympic Special Edition desktop. That is from 2004, 2005.
Okay.
But it's SATA, so I'm going to put an SSD in there, and I'm going to use it as my router.
Wait, that's actually real. You said laptop,
It's a Lenovo. No, not laptop. It's a Lenovo desktop.
Desktop, okay.
Lenovo desktop with an Olympic. I can send you the picture. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm only finding Lenovo's done a laptop. I'm struggling to find the desktop. Send me the picture. That'll be cool.
Hardware. There it is. I put both PCs next to each other.
Wait, where's
I got them. Yes, I got it. Yeah, I'm sending it. I'm waiting for it to load.
Oh, all good.
My connection is bad. So there you go. I sent it.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's a lot less cool than the. Let me show you the
built-in SD card reader.
That is cool.
It's got a built-in SD card reader. That's the interesting part. So I'm gonna turn it into my router.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that laptop they had a similar laptop, but instead the colors were instead of red, it was black with those squiggly things on it. But they kept that laptop. It's the priest's private laptop, so I cannot take that.
Right.
But that desktop, that black desktop, Lenovo desktop, it's going to be my router. So I decided to install. And you remember the the poll that Arch Linux or a fan of Arch Linux put up, and you made a video about.
Yeah. The Reddit survey. Yeah.
You called us crazy people.
About what? What did I say?
Tell you. I'm gonna tell you because it was sent to me and clipped from your video. I am one of those 22.9% people who are running Arch as a server.
Oh, yeah, I did say that.
I am one of those crazy people because my home lab is running on an Arch server in a Proxmox VM on a mini PC, and so far no issues because it's minimal. I just installed the minimal and Docker Compose. That's all I installed, plus my containers and whatever. So Arch can be stable if you don't install anything except 2 packages.
Why are you? Why Arch on there? Is it just because Arch that why?
No, it's because it's what I know best.
Fair.
I've been using it for 6 years. If any issue creeps up, I can fix it almost blindfolded. So I use it, and that's what I'm going to be using on this black desktop for my router. I'm going to use Arch Server. So, but the future of Zero Linux is very bright, but simply because it's going to remain the same. I'm just going to push a little bit tweaks here and there to make it to keep it stable, but that's it. There's no more reason to because as soon as I start including this, because I was thinking of including AI like Open Web UI and Olama, and I was like, no, people will see it as bloat. So whatever you include, people will start thinking of it as bloat. So from now on, I'm just gonna iterate slowly as I go, but it's going to overall remain the same. And that's about it. Zero Linux has a very bright future as long as I keep doing what I do without and I see a lot of people see as one developer doing everything as a bad thing. I see it as a good thing because there's no outside influence. There's no, we don't agree on this, we don't agree on that. Let's do this way. Let's do that. Slows down the development. Not for every developer, but for a lot of developers out there, we tend to get overwhelmed. So I'm sticking on doing it solo. That's and getting ideas from outside, yes, but not influencing it by the outside. But yeah, and I don't want to make it. And one last thing I'm going to say about it, I'm never going to make it seem easier to use. Arch Linux is Arch Linux. It's a build-it-yourself kind of distro. Why make it look like something it's not, or was never meant to be? So I am not going to make it easier. I'm not going to create GUI tools giving people the impression that, hey, Arch is easy. No, Arch, yes, it can be easy if you learn and do things the right way. But I don't want to give the impression that it is easy for beginner users. If you're new to Linux, you know nothing about Linux, don't use anything based on Arch. Use any other simpler distro. There's many simpler distros. I'm not going to name any because a lot of people keep throwing around Linux Mint, LMDE, or Ubuntu, or whatever. The distro, I describe a distro as simple. Depends on the user who's using it. If the users, because some users see Ubuntu as hard to use, others see Mint as hard to use. It depends on the user. What their requirements what their requirements are, the way they want to use the distro. Anything can be easy or hard. You cannot say, "Oh, use Linux Mint. It's easy." I can tell you, I did that to a guy who has never touched Linux before. He managed to make it unbootable. So no, we cannot say we cannot describe any distro as simpler to use just because we think it's simpler to use. So we have to think about the user. we have to. I'm talking from the point of view of a salesperson because that's what I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask the right questions, see how users tend to use their systems, and then give them a distro that would make those kind of tasks easier.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot just throw willy-nilly, hey, go use Linux Mint, go use whatever. No, we have to understand the user and the user's needs before we tell them which distro to use. That's what we do usually on social media, on Discord, for example. Like when somebody says, I don't know which distro to use, I'm a gamer. Okay, but gamer is a general term. What games do you play? If he tells you, hey, I play the games that were the style of games that were like similar to Flash games, like browser-based games, you can give him any simple distro and they'll be good to go. But if he tells you I'm a triple A gamer, then you have to, like for example, cache the OS because it's very well
Or,
optimized
depending on
towards
the games he plays, just don't use Linux. If you're playing like,
competitive games.
Call of Duty or something, like it's just not gonna play on Linux. Just give up now.